Hello again. Gonna be talking to you guys now about the wizard class. Some useful information from character creation, subclass, and level up choices. Just kind of overall gameplay of this class. Wizards are basically your main magic spellcasters in the game. They have a large, extensive library of spells to help both in and out of combat. Intelligence is their main stat, and it's also their magic casting ability. They gain proficiencies in intelligence and wisdom saving throws. They have a d6 hit dice and are proficient in daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, light crossbows. Um, Nothing with armor, nothing with a lot of other things. Most of the reason why you see I have it here is because Shadowheart is a half elf and they get proficiency in light armor and shields. Um, but what they have for little armor protection, you can use things like mage armor is always a good spell to cast on yourself. If you take your wizard and you multi-class into warlock, you could eventually, depending on how far you go, you'll be able to cast mage armor on yourself as a at will, just because I think it's a level 2 evocation that you can do that with. From a race perspective on a wizard, I mean, elves, half elves, and humans are always good. I like gnomes just because of their proficiency bonuses to all the different kind of saves. Um, if you're trying to get some armor proficiency, Gith is probably one of the best ones for a wizard, mostly because you gain proficiency in light and medium armor. So now you can walk around in medium armor and feel pretty safe and not have to worry about mage armor because you have actual armor that you're casting spells with. Because you're proficient in that armor, you're good to go. Um, from an ability standpoint, like I had mentioned, high intelligence. I'm going to crank this up to 16 to start, and honestly, having high constitution is good too because more constitution means more ability to survive. If you're planning on playing more, playing a Gith or doing things in such a way where you get some armor bonuses, having some dex skill is going to help you a long way. But at its core, you want to try and get your intelligence as high as you can get it. Um, I may even say crank this down to 13 dexterity. You get a +1. Um, you're kind of good with things for the most part. Light armors are going to be like an 11 or a 12, and you're still going to get more from uh, mage armor than you are anything else. So like mage armor, it's 13 plus your dexterity. So quite honestly, like you could just do something of this nature, or you could even dump your wisdom down to 10 so that you can get that intelligence up to 17 and still get a +2 to your dex. So when you cast mage armor on yourself as a level 1 spell, it's an abjuration spell, you'll gain your AC at this point starting would be 15. And then since I'm a light or a half elf, I get access to shields. I would be able to make it a 17 AC for a wizard by the time I cast mage armor on me and what have you. It's great. It's really helpful that spell. From a spell skill perspective, I mean, you're a wizard. You're gonna have really high intelligence, so I'd recommend any intelligence-based um, pieces. So like getting proficiency in history and arcana, investigation, if you want to have your person be very investigaty, is also a good choice as well. At level 1, we gain a lot of different things. First off, we gain a bunch of different cantrips and spells. Like I had mentioned, a wizard, you're going to have the largest library of cantrips and spells known to man. A lot of your spells are things that could be useful for damaging things, healing, debuffing, buffing. It really depends on what spells you pick. Like if you're playing a wizard, from a long-term perspective, I'd highly recommend looking at all the different kind of spells that are available to a wizard. You can kind of plan your builds with this. And what's nice is you can kind of do this as well. Like, let's say you get yourself to a level 12 wizard and you're like, man, I really wish I didn't pick this subclass. I wish I picked something else. You can use withers for 100 gold and respec yourself. So that's one of the nice things I like about this game, is that there's so many different customizable ways to do things. But at level 1, you gain, it's called Arcane Recovery. And what this does is lets you replenish spell slots outside of combat. You can, you can't restore things that are 5th level spells or higher, which is fine because quite honestly, like you only get like like two or three level 5 spell slots and a couple level 6s, so like you're not missing out too much with that. You're still missing like your heavy hitting spells, and you'd have to take a long rest in order to get those back, but I mean it's not the end of the world, quite honestly. At level 1 you gain access to 2 level 1 spell slots, and you also have access to 3 different cantrips. The cantrips list, because you're a wizard, you have a lot more options than most other people do. You don't get Eldritch Blast or anything of that nature, but I'd say Ray of Frost, Poison, Mage Hand is always good. Light is helpful if you're going to be if you're a character that's not going to have very good dark vision. You'll be able to at least cast light. Things will see you coming, but you at least have light to do things. From a spell perspective, definitely Mage Armor. Actually, let me dial back here with spells. So how wizards gain spells is wizards can gain spells by reading them in books, scrolls. They have a list of spells that there's a finite number that they can have prepared, and then there's also the amount that they know. So you might know 8 or 9 spells, but you can only have, let's say, 5 or 6 prepared at a time because of your level. You can switch those out between levels, but at the moment here at level 1 we have 6 level spell or 6 spells that we know, and we can only cast two spells at level 1 until we run out of slots. So as you level up, you'll gain more spell slots, you'll gain more abilities to do these things. Arcane Recovery is going to be great because what you can do is use that outside of combat to regain some spell slots. And how it kind of works out with that is, yeah, it can't be a 5th level or higher, but what it is you have a number of charges equal to your wizard level plus 1, and then they half it. So like the number of times I can use this is basically once, because it's going to take my wizard level of 1, add 1, divide it by 2, and I get 1. Not doesn't math the greatest, but that's what ends up happening here at level 1. You can use the one point from your Arcane Recovery to regain your spell slot. So if you want to regain a level 3 spell slot, you have to use 3 points. So it's not like a way to like live on infinitely by having so many spells at your disposal, but it definitely is helpful to kind of help you get certain spell slots back so that you get through a fight and hopefully survive to even get to that short rest or long rest. The spells here, quite honestly, are more of a thing that it's really it's how do you want to play your character? Do you want to play somebody that's going to be doing some damage? Burning Hands, I would say, is good. Charm Person lets you kind of get your way out of battle a little bit. Chromatic Orb does decent damage, and it's something that you can it's thunder damage, so most things aren't immune or resistant to thunder damage at the early levels. Color spray, you're able to blind creatures, and what it means here by combined 33 points is that if you can basically blind X number of creatures until you hit that 33 point limit of their HP. Basically, so if you had like 3 goblins who had 10 HP each and 1 goblin who had 5, you could hit the the ones that had 10, and then the one who had 5 HP, he wouldn't be affected. Disguise Self, you can just cast Disguise Self on yourself, chase things. Expeditious Retreat is good if you want to be able to dash away as a bonus action by using a spell to do so. Kind of a waste of a spell in a way. to me. Feather Fall is cool if you're constantly falling or you see people falling. Magic Missile is definitely something to keep. Um, of these, I mean, Grease is cool if you have somebody that can cast like a Firebolt, and by being a high elf, I'm able to pick another cantrip, which is what I picked here. I mean, I have Firebolt, so I could cast Grease on the ground, light it on fire with Firebolt, and now I've just created hell and created havoc, and you name it. So, that's why I mean, like, really go through these spells and kind of pick the things that resonate with how you want to play your character. At level 2, we get to pick your school of wizardry that you're going to be using for the game. Um, Basically, in short, every subclass here. Well, before I get into that, you gain more spell slots, um, and you gain more spells to kind of choose from that level 1 spell list. So like I get some more spells that I can choose. But from your spell slot, and like you can see, I have 5 prepared spells. So like I know all these spells, but these are the ones I have prepared. So I want to have Mage Armor prepared, Magic Missile. I maybe not want Fog Cloud. I want this one instead. And then I'm kind of good to go. But kind of diving into the subclasses, every subclass, there's 8 of them to choose from, and each one is just, it's different things you can do. Also, as you change your subclass, you get access to different kinds of spells in this list, it looks like. Or it's just resetting it. Never mind. I thought you got new ones. But anyway, every subclass has, at level 2, you get a Savant ability. And what it does is when you learn spells of the subclass that you picked, it costs you less gold to learn it. So most of the time it costs you 50 gold to learn a spell from a scroll. If you were in the Evocation subclass and found an Evocation scroll, it would cost you 25 gold to learn it instead of 50. And that, like I said, that happens for every single subclass selection you have here. In addition to that, as an Abjuration wizard, you gain access to, at level 2, it's called, here's that Savant, sorry. So like you every time you learn this kind of spells, it's half as much gold. You also gain Arcane Ward as an Abjuration wizard. And think of an Abjuration wizard, they're very defensive-based spells. You get wards, which are a way to protect you from a lot of different things. But the first thing you gain is kind of like a base ward, if you will. It's called Arcane Ward. And basically, residual magic of your spells form a ward around you and protect you from harm. And what this means is that the ward blocks damage equal to its intensity level, and which is the number of abjuration spells you cast, up to twice your wizard level. So if you were a level 1 wizard and you cast the abjuration spell, your intensity of your arcane ward is now a 1. And what this means is that after it's been used, the intensity drops by 1. So if it was 1, now it's going to drop to 0. So if you had an example here, I'm going to change it up because just for math. If you take, if your intensity is 2 and you take 3 damage, the ward will block 2 of that, and you'll take 1 as the ward's intensity drops by 1. I think that's how it works. It's dealing with wizards, you're going to deal with a lot of things here that's just, it's very trial and error of how things are going to mess with. At level 6, it becomes a projected ward, so you can use your arcane ward on allies now instead of just you. And then at level 10, you gain, it's called Improved Abjuration, which is when you take a short rest, your arcane ward intensity increases by your wizard level. I'm going to dial back here. It doesn't take that much. What it does is it blocks all that damage, and you get X number of charges on this ward. So if you have 2 charges and you take damage, it blocks it, and then it drops down by 1. So now you have one more shield, if you will. So what this thing does now at level 10 is when you take a short rest, your intensity is going to increase by 10 in this case because you're level 10. So yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. Pretty sure that's how it works. I might be wrong. Abjuration, wizards are weird. As an evocation wizard, you think of it more as your like very elemental damaging spells. At level 2, you gain, it's called Sculpt Spells, which basically you can cast your spells in such a way to avoid your allies so they automatically succeed on saving throws. It's very similar to the sorcerer's ability to kind of manipulate their spells. At level 6, you get Potent Cantrip, which basically means that if a creature succeeds on a cantrip saving throw, they still take half the damage. So they can try and succeed against your saving throws the best they can, but they're still going to take the damage, or at least half damage, I should say. Um, at level 10, you get to add your intelligence modifier to your evocation spell damage, and that's basically meaning that when you cast a spell, you get to add your intelligence bonus to it. Hopefully by level 10 you have 20 intelligence, so this bonus is going to be at least a +5. Necromancy, basically spells to raise the dead, is what this subclass is. Um, at level 2, you gain Grim Harvest, which once per turn, if you kill a creature with a spell, you regain HP equal to twice the spell slot used to kill it, or 3 if it's a Necromancer spell. So let's say you killed something with a level 3 Necromancer spell, you would gain 9 HP back for that. Or if you just cast a regular level 3 spell that wasn't Necromancer, you would gain 6 back. So it's a way to like kind of gain HP back for killing things with your spells because you're a wizard. You're probably going to be using a lot of them. At level 6, you gain Animate Dead to let you create an undead servant from a corpse. This is very similar to what Oathbreaker Paladins have. You also gain what's called Undead Thrall abilities. You get the ability to summon an additional. When you use Animate Dead, you can raise another corpse. And you also get access to better summons, which gives your creatures additional HP equal to your wizard level, and your proficiency bonus is added to their damage. So their HP increases by your wizard level, and your proficiency bonus is added to their damage. At level 10, you become resistant to necrotic damage, and the effects of it don't reduce your hit point maximum. Because normally when you're hit by necrotic damage, it drops your HP by that amount, or your maximum HP, sorry. Conjuration, think of it as like you're conjuring things out of thin air. What you gain at this level is Conjuring Servant, but also, or Savant, but also you get the ability to create water. Basically, you get to make it rain, where you have a rain spell, for lack of a better term. At level 6, you gain Teleport, which lets you teleport to an unoccupied space or swap places with an ally on the battlefield. At level 10, you get Focus Conjuration. Basically means you won't lose concentration when concentrating on a conjuration spell, and where you take the damage from that. So normally when you get hit, you have to make a Constitution saving throw or drop your concentration. It's fun. Enchantment, you're doing a lot of interesting just enchanting on people. At level 2, you gain Hypnotic Gaze, which lets you charm or incapacitate a creature, meaning that it cannot attack you, sorry, and it needs to succeed a Wisdom saving throw to try and break it, and you can extend your grasp on them, if you will, in every sequential turn, basically. I did that back at last 2 turns. I misread that. That didn't make sense. So I was like, wait a minute, that seems OP. Um, At level 6, you gain Instinctive Charm, which lets you charm an enemy and they will attack a new target as a reaction. And at level 10, you gain Split Enchantment, which lets you target 2 creatures with an enchantment spell, and that normally would target 1. So think of enchantment as like you're basically charming people left and right. You're the charmer. You're the charming subclass. Divination lets you basically become the master of fate, is the best way I can explain it, because you gain these portent dice, and I'm probably saying that wrong, but after every long rest, you gain 2 random dice, and they have random rolls, and you just get to basically use your reaction to change the dice of any attack roll, saving throw, rolled near you, to one of your dice. So let's say you rolled a 1 on a ability check or something. You could swap it with one of your dice and hopefully not fail. They can only be used once, but you lose all of your unused dice at the end of the day. And that's pretty much the extent of that. So basically, like you get them back. I believe you get them back at the beginning of the day. So after a long rest, you're gonna gain 2 more back. You gain 2 random dice. So like if you didn't use any, you're just gonna be stuck with 2. Um, at level 3, you gain an additional dice and can regain them now after short rest. So now you have 3 dice and you get them after a short rest instead of a long rest. At level 10, you gain Dark Vision up to 24 meters, and you can see invisible creatures. So if someone's invisible around you, you know where they're at. Illusion, basically think of it as you didn't see anything. You have access to the improved minor illusion, which basically lets you cast minor illusion as a bonus action. What minor illusion does is it basically, as long as you remain hidden, you can remain hidden while casting this spell. The spell can also be cast while you're silenced, so you can become silenced, get out of the silence circle, and hopefully fire back at whatever did this to you. At level 6, you get to see invisible creatures and possibly reveal them. It's not quite the same as what the Divination version is at level 10, but you at least can be like, I think I see an invisible creature there and possibly reveal them out. At level 10, you can create a illusionary duplicate of yourself, and basically enemies will attack it instead of you. Very, very useful for things. Transmutation, basically you change properties of things. At level 2, you have this ability that you can brew 2 chemical or alchemical solutions instead of 1 when combining extracts. And what that means is while you're making the extracts as part of the potion making aspect of this game, rather than making 1, you'll be able to make 2. But you have to succeed on that DC medicine check of a 15. At level 6, you can store transmutation magic in a stone to be used later. And at level 10, you gain the ability to transform into a blue jay, and so you can fly. So, I mean, transmutation to me is kind of one of those, like, it sounds cool on paper, and maybe there's different transmutation spells at higher levels I haven't seen yet, which there probably are. Basically, the benefit of transmutation is that you can make 2 extracts instead of 1. Illusionary lets you gain minor illusions so you can kind of hide and just kind of survive a little bit more in battle. Divination is always cool with these dice because having them to change the outcome of things for you or for an enemy. Let's say an enemy crits on you. You could be like, nope, you don't get a nat 20. You get to use my dice that was like a 2. It's very helpful. They're situational but helpful. Being able to charm people on command, basically, with just some of the things you can do here, is definitely helpful. Charming an enemy to fight alongside you is just the most interesting thing in this game. Conjuration, just being able to conjure different things, like basically like swapping places with people. To me, that's kind of situational. Necromancer is honestly one of the better ones I like picking that along with Evocation, just because with Necromancer you can have your own little army of undead following behind you and just wreaking havoc on things. Evocation, again, like I said, you get damaging spells. You can add your intelligence. It's more, I think of them as more like the attack-based subclass for a wizard, like being able to add your intelligence bonus to things, being able to sculpt your spells around so that your allies automatically succeed saving throws. It's really good. And then Abjuration really is the other nice one here. Being able to have that basically shield or ward to protect you. Um, yeah, you're kind of squishy. You're a wizard. You have probably I have 16 AC or 16 health right now at level 2, which isn't bad actually, but still I'm probably gonna get walloped if I'm not careful. So for right now, I'm gonna pick Necromancer, and from these spells, I'm gonna pick Burning Hands and you can get charm. I will take Charm Person, I think is what I'll do. Well, that's all of your subclasses in a nutshell. From here on out, it's really you gain more spell slots, you gain feats, and you gain attribute bonuses. So at level 4 or level 3 we get to pick some more cantrips. We get more spell slots unlocked. Like I can now do level 2 spells, and I also get some different quality ones here. So I can detect thoughts. I can enlarge or reduce a creature, which being able to enlarge a creature, making them from like small to large, is crazy, crazy fun. You have Misty Step at level 3. Like that's a good spell to kind of get out of danger, get out of dodge for things. I like Scorching Ray, and being able to cast blindness on things is always fun too. Actually, darkness. Well, you have to remember too that go into your prepared spells of, all right, I have these prepared spells, and these are what I have prepared at level 2, because these are the only ones I like. These are the ones I have prepared, ready to go. Um, I'm going to say like I want this and I want this one. We want to get rid of Grease, and I'll take Scorching Ray. So it's one thing to remember at every level up is that, okay, I have more spells, that's cool, I need to switch out my spells of my prepared spells. And you can see this list of prepared spells goes up by 1. It looks to be like every level. We'll see what happens here in a minute. But at level 4, I can pick another cantrip. I'm going to pick, being able to cast 2 Strike on an ally is always fun. I think Cloud of Daggers, and I'm going to grab that large and enlarge. And as a feat, I might, yeah, like I like my intelligence. I'm going to make my intelligence 19, and later on I'll make it, up to 20. At level, like I said, level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like from that here on through, basically you gain access to higher level spells. You gain different spell slots, so you can get level 3 spells, 4, 5, and 6 eventually. And then at levels 8 and 12, you gain feats and attribute bonuses. So like for right now, I'm probably going to do this. And then when I hit level 8, Elemental Adept is always good, because you get resistances against certain damage types. Resilient's good because the ability goes up by 1. So I already have proficiency in, I believe, my intelligence saving throws, so it'd be a little redundant to do so. But it's something you could do to get that +1. It's a little redundant, like I said. You could also at some point say you want to do Mage Initiate into Warlock, so that you can get into the Warlock cantrips, so that you can have Eldritch Blast, and you can then have Minor Illusion as a cantrip instead of your other things. And then you can take some level 1 spells to get Arms of Hadar or some of these other things. Or maybe you want to dive into Sorcerer, and you now can get into like other spells that you don't already have. Wizards are something that it's really picking the spells that to me fit the way you're going to play your wizard in your party. Are you going to be a damage dealer? Are you going to be a support person? Are you going to be, a mage slayer here, so you can, break concentration on things. Quite honestly, like there's a couple of feats that are really nice for a wizard, like Spell Sniper, being able to crit on a 19 instead of a 20 for your spells, because spells do get the ability to crit, and if you pick Spell Sniper, you're able to grab yourself Eldritch Blast at some point. Eldritch Blast to me is just like one of the best freaking cantrips in the game. It's just it goes best if you're a warlock because you get those bonuses that we had in the warlock video. But I mean, it's still pretty dope. With that, I'll kind of leave you guys right now. Like I can't cast spells right now because I have medium armor on. So if I were to put on my light armor, it's not light. My light armor. Now my spells have opened up. I can cast things. As a level 2 spell, I'm going to cast, and like when you cast spells, see I can cast Mage Armor at level 1, or I can cast it as a level 2 spell slot. It doesn't do anything it doesn't do any bonuses to me, but I just get that ability. You do have things like, basically it's just I get the ability to use them at higher spell slots. So I'm going to give myself Mage Armor. Oh, I have armor equipped, so I guess I can't do that. Sorry. I'm gonna hit these guys with Magic Missile. Sorry, Asteron, but you ate the last piece of bacon. I'm not a fan. If I look here under my level 2 spells, I can do Scorching Ray, which lets me do, in this case, 3 rays because of where I'm at here. So I was gonna be 1, 2, 3. Didn't do so well. What other level 2 things can I do? Oh, I can't put an ally to sleep. Probably can't. Oh, I can charm. I'll charge you. So because I upcast it, I'm able to select additional targets. There's other spells too that upcast deals an additional d6 of damage. So by dealing this as a level 4 spell, or level 2 spell, it now is 4d6 instead of the normal 3. So every level usually that you go up, the dice damage increases. So if I get a little closer to these guys, and I'm going to cast it at level 2 and be like, sorry. Let me help her up. I have some level 1 spells I can deal with, so I can do this again. Whoa, what happened? The game crashed. Cool. Well, that's that's pretty much it. I I can sit here and use some of the other spells and things. I apologize for the game crashing on it. I think it's because I attacked my teammates and the game just was not a fan. I hope these videos have been helpful. And like I've said before, if there's anything you want to add or something I missed, from your own experiences, feel free to add it to the comments below. And as always, happy gaming. Enjoy this game, and I will see you guys another day.